Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, yeah. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Nathan. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good.
We're here with Mark Westguard. There he is, Mark Westguard,
There
looking.
he is.
Yeah, there I am, looking very, very dapper. It's Mark from WS Form, so we're here to talk about WS Form. Believe it or not, WS Form is a WordPress form plugin. If you've been tuning into the previous 3 episodes, you'll have got a real idea, a real understanding of just how amazingly complicated it can be. The intention of this webinar series is to reduce that complexity and let you know how it works under the hood. This is the fourth one, like I said. Previously, we've done the form building basics. Then we followed that up with interactive forms. Last week, it was all about preventing form spam and getting deliverability, improving all of that. And then this week, we're going to be talking about custom field plugin integrations. I think that's right, isn't it, Mark?
Right. That is right.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to add before we begin, or should we just crack right on?
I think we should just crack on. Yeah.
Oh, actually, there is
Go
something
on.
I want to add, which is
You
my
got some
usual bit at the
housekeeping,
beginning.
mate.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
apologies. That is to say that if you are joining us live, firstly, appreciate it. Secondly, if you want other people to join this, the easiest way is to send them to our website, wpbuilds.com/live. Over there, you need to be logged into some kind of Google account because we've got YouTube comments. If you're on our Facebook group, you can make comments over there, but you do need to let us know via Facebook who you are. And you do that by going to chat.restream.io/FB. The link should be in the post at the top. Sometimes it appears, sometimes not. But there it is anyway, chat.restream.io/FB. The intention really is just for me and Mark to talk, but we obviously will raise comments if you have a question or you're confused by something that Mark says, or you just want some further clarification. Please drop a comment in, and if it's pertinent, then we will hopefully add it onto the screen. Looks like, oh, good grief! I've just put the chat bit on. We've got quite a few comments already. I might as well say hello to these people. Rob Cairns joining us all the way from sunny Toronto. He says,
Hey, Rob.
hello. We've also got Bud Kraus. He says, how is everyone? Well, I'm fine. What about you, Mark?
I'm fine too, bud. I'm doing good.
Yeah, thanks, Bud. The inevitable pizza comment from from Rob. He wants his pizzas now. We will, I'm sure, at some point get to that. And we're also joined by Marcus Bennett from GoDaddy at Skyverge. We always greeted folks with a good May when we logged in. May morning, afternoon, evening. I like it.
There you go.
What about extending that to Maine, Maen, and you could have night as well, couldn't you? Yeah, there you go. So good Maine. Also joined. Oh, sorry, that's just somebody saying hi, Marcus, and somebody randomly saying hello. I yell. I can be. I think that might be a spam comment. I'm just going to make that one go away. Okay. Episode 4, talking about custom field plugin integrations. Let's hand it right over to Mark. Mark, just tell me when you want to put the slides up and I'll do that.
We can go straight for it, Nathan.
Oh, let's do it. Yeah. Okay. Oakley. There we go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So today we're going to talk about custom field plugin integrations and how you can work with those with WS Form. So one of the things that we just want to remind everybody about is that we are doing a 20% off any WS Form edition. So that's the personal, the freelance, and the agency, and any of the other add-ons if you want to buy those a la carte. If you go to wpbuilds.com/link/WS Form and use coupon code WPBuild, you will get 20% off.
Nice.
And I'm not going to torment people with you coming up from the bottom of the screen this week.
Oh, no, that was funny. That was funny. Yeah, but yeah, let's move it on.
Okay, so I just want to really, I know everybody hates a PowerPoint, but I just really want to give everyone a brief overview of how WordPress post tables and user tables work in WordPress. Just a quick refresher. So there are 2 tables in WordPress that are used to store posts. One is called WP_post. I've put the WP underscore in square brackets on purpose, and that's because sometimes that database prefix can be different. Your hosting provider may have changed that, but usually it's WP_post. And the different fields in that table for storing those posts are anything from the ID, which is a unique identifier, the post author, which is the person that authored that post, the post type, which is the type of post, and we'll come on to that in a moment, And you've got other things like the title, the content, the excerpt, etc. There's actually quite a few fields in there. And then in conjunction with that, you then have a WP post meta table. And the post meta table is where you can store custom stuff about a post. So you may want to store, I'm trying to think, could be an image, could be anything that you want. So really the WP post meta is for extending that post, and that data gets stored in what's called a key value pair. And there's a link between those two tables. So the WP post meta table has a post ID field, and that links to the ID of the post. That's how those two tables are glued together. So this is what a post looks like in the actual WordPress database when it's stored. And this is what we're going to talk about today, actually pushing data to these posts in WordPress. So there's various different post types in WordPress. You've got default post types that come with WordPress. So you've got regular posts. So those are your blog posts. So if you're running a blog with WordPress, that's where your blog articles actually get stored to. If you make a revision to that blog post, it's going to go in as a revision post type. If you create a page on your website, that is a page post type. So really that post WP underscore post table can be used for all types of things because of that post type. And then you've also got custom post types. One example is a WooCommerce product. So when you install WooCommerce, WooCommerce will create a custom post type called product, and that's where it stores all of its products. And you can actually add any number of custom post types to WordPress that you like. So the way that the WS Form Post Management add-on works is you will take data from a form and you're going to push that to a post. You're going to create a post from the form fields, and that's going to populate those two tables that we just spoke about. That should be post meta without an underscore, actually. And then from the post, we can actually populate a form as well. So it's bi-directional. And when you submit that form, it will then go and update that post. So you've got bi-directional post management here. We can also do that with user tables in WordPress as well. So users have a table. That's where your login, your password, your email address, etc., is stored. That also has a WP user meta table. So that's where you can store custom information about that user. And again, there's a link between those two tables to glue those two tables together. And the user management add-on works in pretty much the same way as the post management add-on. So you've got a form which will then register a user, and that data, that user data, could also be used to populate a form. And then when we submit that form, it can be used to edit the profile of the user. So again, bi-directional management on that. So with custom field plugins, the weird thing about WordPress is there's actually no way of creating that metadata. By default, WordPress out of the box, there's no way of doing that. So we rely on custom field plugins to do that. So again, with a post, you're going to have your default fields like title, content, excerpt. Those come bundled with WordPress. If you want to add some additional fields, you're going to be using custom fields. A custom field could be anything from like a testimonial here, a photo, a location, could be a map, all kinds of different things that you can do with these custom field plugins. So we're going to talk about different custom field plugins and how WS Form can work with those. There are 5 different custom field plugins that WS Form works with out of the box with the post management and the user management add-ons. So we've got ACF, which is one of the most popular advanced custom fields. That's the one I'm going to go through today. JetEngine, Metabox, Pods, and Toolset. And some of these are free. Some of them are freemium, so they have a free version and a paid version, and some of them are just paid. So it's just really down to preference. My personal favorite is ACF. I've been working with it for years. It's just the one that I'm used to. But all of them do pretty much the same thing. They enable you to create custom fields in WordPress for any type of custom post type, and also enable you to create fields for users as well. So let's have a look at it.
Nice.
That is the end of the
PowerPoint. No more PowerPoint for you. Very good.
That's right. Let me close this down. Get rid of it. Be gone, PowerPoint.
Yes, go on. Off you go.
Right. All right. So the first step is you're going to want to create those custom fields in WordPress, and we're going to use ACF in this example. All the custom field plugins work in pretty much the same way. They will have a group of fields for a particular custom post type. So I've already put these in, so you'd have to sit here and watch me go through these one by one. Here we've got a group for posts and we've got a group for users. We're going to focus just on posts to begin with. So if we edit this group, now I've added a lot of fields to this just to demonstrate all the different types of things that WS Form can do. But we've got things like repeaters. So repeaters basically a collection of fields that you can repeat over and over again. And then you've got basic fields like text, text area, number. And then we've got some more complex field types such as select, checkbox, radio, true, false. And then you've got things like image upload, file upload. And then you can even do things like Google Maps with ACF, which is quite cool. You can also do relational fields such as post object, relationship fields, which will link different posts to this post. So you could actually link one custom post type to another custom post type. You can also add taxonomy links to posts using ACF. And that basically means you could have a selector to choose different taxonomy items. If you're not familiar with taxonomies in WordPress, it's basically a way of categorizing a post. So you can add a category, you can add a tag, you can add any type of like checkbox select list where you can allocate a post to a certain taxonomy. And within a taxonomy, you have terms. So, for example, a taxonomy may be color, and then the terms will be red, blue, green. You can also have a user selector as well. So I've added all these in here so that they're basically ready to go. Now, if we were to go and add a post in WordPress, you'll notice that all of those custom fields actually now appear on that post. And I can go in there, edit all of these fields, and I can assign those fields to that post. You'll notice here as well that I've put a 50% width on text and text areas. So you can actually do a little bit of layout in here. Now, ACF does actually have its own form element, but it's very, very limited in what it can do. So if you want a lot more flexibility, that's where WS Form comes in. And I'll show you how to do that. Now, traditionally, what you would do is you would add a form, create a blank form, and then you would start adding your fields, that relate to your ACF fields that you've created. And you'd maybe resize those to get them the right size you wanted. And then you'd have to go in and map all of those fields so that when the form is submitted, they are mapped to the post. Now that takes a long time sometimes when you've got a complicated form and a lot of different posts. So WS Form makes that a lot easier. What we can do is go to WS Form, we can click on Add New, and we can go to the Post Management tab. And what the Post Management tab does is it will now pull out all the custom post types that you've got installed in WordPress. So if you had any other custom post types registered, they would actually appear here. You'll notice on post, we've got a little baby ACF logo on that template. And that's because WS Form has detected that you've got ACF installed and that you have some fields that are associated with that post type. If I then click Use Template, WS Form is now going through all those ACF fields I just created, and it's building a form for you. So in one click, we've built a form that's basically ready to go.
So just to be clear on that, if you'd have, let's say you'd configured a real estate agent post type, and you'd assigned custom field, and you'd give it, I don't know, price, how many bathrooms, and all that kind of stuff. By clicking that button, those exact fields would now be mapped right there in the, what was that, 2 seconds?
Yeah,
Nice.
all built for you.
Nice.
So you'll notice at the top of the form, we've got all the regular fields that we would expect with a post, all the ones I just showed you in that database table. So you've got the title, the content, the excerpt, and also the featured image that you see on a post as well. And then below that, we've got all the ACF fields that we had just created. So we've got that repeater that we had at the top. We've got the text field. You'll notice it's actually made the width of the field accurate to what we had in ACF. And all those other field types are here. So we support all the core ACF fields. Any one of those can be used on a form. And if we then go to actions in WS Form, so if we click at the top here, this little lightning icon, and just a reminder, the actions are anything that runs when a form is submitted. So on this one, we have a post management action. If we expand this out by clicking the expand icon at the top right-hand side, and then we edit that post management action, it's now going to pull in all of the fields that we have for ACF, and you'll notice that everything is mapped for you. So rather than having to go through line by line and map your form fields to the ACF field, it's done that all for you automatically. So it's very, very quick and easy. So what the mapping does is when the form is submitted, we are telling WS Form that we want this field here, this text field, to end up in this ACF field on the post. And you can add as many mappings as you want. If you want to edit this, you can. You can remove mappings. You're basically in the WS Form layout editor, so you can do anything that you want with this form to make it look however you want. So, you know, for example, I can resize the section. I can resize these fields if I want to, and I can make this form fully responsive. So everything within the normal WS Form layout editor is available to you. So let's preview that form and have a look at what that looks like. So if we preview, so here's our form here. Now you may recall from the previous sessions that we have this debug console at the bottom of the page. Just to recap on that. So what the debug console does, this is unique to WS Form, and what it enables you to do is to instantly populate a form in one click. So you'll see here under the Tools tab here, we have a populate button. If we click that, it has now populated that form and put data in every field. So it's selected options, it's selected checkboxes for you. The only thing it won't do is file uploads because it can't upload a file for you, obviously. But all the text fields are done. It'll even fill the map out for you as well. Each time you hit populate, you're actually going to get different data. So it will take you around the world.
That's nice. That's quite a lot of fun just doing that. Could we do that for 10 minutes? Yeah, just keep
zoom
doing
it, see the world.
Oh, Tibet.
Yeah, so you'll see how much time that saves when you're testing a form. All you got to do is hit that populate button. If we click on populate and submit, it'll populate the form and it will submit it and it will create a post for us. So that's it done. It's that easy. So if we go into posts in WordPress, there's our new post that's been created. And if we click on that post, you can see all the fields completed that we just populated. So very, very, very easy to create a form to create a post. Again, you can change that form any way that you want. Now, once you've created a post, you may want to edit that post using a form, and that's something you can do in WS Form as well. So if we go back to that post, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the ID at the top here, which is 3399, and I'm going to show you how to populate a form using post data. So if we click on Form Settings at the top right-hand side, and then we click on the Data tab, I'll expand this out to make it easier to see, and then we'll click Populate Using Action. And what this is doing, this is going to tell WS Form that we want to populate this form using the post management action. And we're going to populate from this post type, and I'm going to tell it to populate from post ID 3399. Now, just a quick point on this post ID field here. There are various ways of populating a form with the ID, with a particular post ID. And sometimes this stumps people a little bit. You can put a direct ID number in there if you want to, and that will read the data from that particular post ID. I can also leave that blank, and if the form is on a particular post, like the form is physically sitting on a post on a page, it will use that post ID.
Right.
So you can actually put a post form on the post itself. You can also do things such as #query_var. Then we can put post ID in that function. So let's put post ID like that. What that will do, that will actually pull the post ID that is specified in the query string of the URL and use that to populate the post. So I could do something like ampersand post ID equals 123 in the URL. So if you want to link to a post from another page and then have this form populate using that query string parameter, you can do that as well. You can actually put any other WS form variable in here to determine which post ID you want to populate. We also
so an example of that would be you would have a form, but you then want to collect that data and immediately show it back on another page to somebody. So, for example, the real estate site, it could show me what my listing might look like, for example, on the very next page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We have some people, for example, looking at that example there. So you might have an estate agent or realtor that will have the ability for somebody to post, say, 3 or 4 different properties.
Yep.
And they could click an edit button and then edit that particular property.
Got it.
So you can use that to make that dynamic, basically. You could also restrict population to an author. And what that will do is, that's kind of a nice security feature. So if the post was created by a particular user, only that user can edit that post. Or pull the data from that post. So if we scroll down, you'll see that all of those ACF field mappings, again, are done for you. And what this is saying is that for the post that we're going to populate, and we were going to use
3 something, I've forgotten.
3399. So let's put that in there. So we're going to take the data from post ID 3399, and these are the ACF custom fields, and we're going to populate those into these fields. So we're going to take, for example, the text field here, and we're going to populate that into the text field on the form. So all you need to do, really, if you're using that template, is come in here, determine which post ID you want to update, hit save and close, and that's it done. So if we now look at that, you'll notice now the form is populated from the post itself. So we've taken all of that post data and we're now populating that on the form. Now that will actually work as well with repeaters. So you'll notice here that we have a repeater just with one row. If we were to go into that post, and let's just scroll up on the post itself, and we'll add a row. Let's just put row 2, row 2 there, and we'll update that. If we then refresh that, you'll then see that we've got, oh no, it hasn't, because it's sorry, this is saving a session. So
okay.
but that would basically add additional repeater rows to that. Also, if you were to add an image, let's go down to, there's one of our image fields. There's so many fields, I can't find them.
Image was quite near the top, if I remember. Oh no, it was about halfway down.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's just pick a rough image there, and we'll update that. Let's see, this should update, hopefully. Yeah, there you go. So there's your image. So you've got, as soon as that post is updated, the information is going to update actually on the form itself. And if we were to change this, so let's just make a change to this, we need actually to configure the post management action to do that. So let's go to actions, and we'll go back into post management. And you'll notice here that the post ID for updates is blank. When that post ID for updates is blank, it's going to create a new post. So in this instance, we don't want to do that. We actually want to put a post ID in there. So we're going to put 3399, which was the post ID.
Yep.
And we'll leave all the mappings as they were, because we want to make sure that we're updating all the fields on that form. And we'll hit save and close and go into post management. And we'll just change the title to 123 and put a 123 in the content. And then we'll go down here and hit submit. And if we then edit that post again, oh look, there's our repeater row.
Nice. Oh yeah. Better late than never, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. So there's the update on the post. So you've got full bi-directional capabilities on post updates. So you can update the titles, and you can update any of the custom fields on that as well. All right, so that's post management. So that is where we're basically creating posts and editing posts as well. Now you can, let's just go down to the images. I just want to show how those work. try and find it again. So, yeah, so here we go. Image, file upload, and image upload and file upload. So in ACF, you have different types of file upload capabilities. You can upload images, you can upload files. You can also do galleries as well, which is where you can upload multiple images to a gallery. So if we go to the image, I just want to show how those are set up. In ACF, they have a nice kind of drag and drop capability for uploading images. And they also use like the media gallery as well. So we have a similar thing in WS Form, and we use a thing called Drop Zone.
Oh, it's nice. This it's lovely.
Yeah, and the nice thing about Drop Zone is that, let's just refresh this, is the user can just drag a file into this area. So you see we've got that on the featured image as well. So if we go to files here, I can take a screenshot straight away here, and they can just drag that in. It's a really nice way of being able to upload images. And the reason that we like to use the Drop Zone is the file is getting uploaded to the server in the background while the form is still on the page.
Oh,
So
nice.
when you submit,
Okay.
you don't have to wait for it to
Yep.
upload. And when you create a form automatically, WS Form's going to automatically set that file type to dropzone.js for you. So in WS Form, we have various different ways of uploading files. You can actually use the default file upload that you sometimes see,
Yep.
maybe in WordPress when you're uploading a plugin. But you can set that to dropzone.js, and you get that nice looking interface. And all you got to do is literally just select that dropzone.js. We also have various different ways of saving files in WS Form as well. So you can save it to WS Form private, which will actually hash the file name and make it very, very difficult, almost impossible to find that file. But because we're using ACF, we need to make sure that we're using the media library, because that's how ACF stores its files. So you've got to want to make sure, if you were manually creating a form and you had a file upload on there, you want to make sure that you're using dropzone.js and that you're using media library. Again, if you're using the template, it's going to do that for you, and you don't have to worry about it. Let's just see what else we want to go through. Taxonomies. Let's just talk about that quickly. So just to recap on taxonomy. So on posts, for example, in WordPress, if we were to create a new post, and you're probably familiar with this, you would categorize your blog into a particular category. You can also tag it as well. Now, categories and tags are in fact terms in WordPress. They're actually exactly the same. And tags and categories are two different taxonomies. So what you can do is you can actually map those categories and tags between a post and a form as well. And that's done very easy, very similar way to mapping those fields. So if we go into form settings and then we go to data and populate using action. So this is where we're populating the form. At the bottom of these field settings here, you'll see we've got tag mapping.
Okay.
And all you need to do is just tell it which field you want to populate with that tag information. Now, when we're using the template, that category field is automatically created for you, so you don't have to do anything. But if you were to create that manually, I just want to show you how that's built. So if we go into this section here where we've got a category checkbox, and we'll edit that field. Under checkboxes, you'll see we're using a data source of terms.
Yep.
So what that's going to do is it's going to pull in the terms from the category taxonomy, and it's going to populate those as checkboxes on your form. If I click Get Data, it'll pull in the tags that I've got configured on there. So what we do is we store those terms as the term ID. You'll see this number here. And that's basically what we then send to WordPress to say, hey, assign this term to this particular post. So likewise, on the post management action, which is where we're sending the data to the post itself, if we scroll down here, you'll see we've got term mapping. So this is saying, please map this category field here to the taxonomy of category. And that's how you get that two-way population going on, the bi-directional population going on. So that's that. So it's fairly straightforward. Most of the time, I would recommend people just set up their ACF fields or pods or MetaBox or whatever custom field plugin that you're working with. Go into Add New, hit Post Management, choose your custom post type, hit use template, and let WS Form do the work.
Yeah,
it's
it's
really
more a
that easy.
process of deleting at that point, isn't it? I feel
Yeah,
like you might just not want certain data, pieces of data to be gathered,
yeah.
but it's all there. There was one curious thing that I noticed on when you populated it and you scroll down.
Yeah.
The repeater field sits outside of the ACF group or section
Oh,
there.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is that just because
So
it behaves in a different way, or it?
yeah, so with ACF, they have repeaters and they have groups.
Yep.
So a repeater in ACF is a collection of fields that you can repeat over and over.
Hmm.
A group is really, it just basically is a grouping of fields, a logical grouping of fields. So it's like a little section itself.
Yep.
So in order to do that in WS Form, we do have repeaters, and they're basically called a section. And you'll see that this is a section containing those two fields. We add these icons to that repeater for you because it's a repeater. And if you click on those section settings, you'll see that repeatable is enabled on that. It's also indicated with a little repeater icon here as well. So you know that
Oh, I
that's a
got it. Got it.
repeating
Because that's
section.
your repeater field.
Correct.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
So we don't actually have a repeater field per se. We have a repeatable section.
Section. Right. Right.
Yeah. And ACF's a little bit different, isn't it? It has, if you go into
Yeah.
ACF, if we go into that post, theirs is actually like a field.
It's like
And
a
then
field, but it isn't.
within
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then within that, you then have
Your
those two
fields.
fields.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our version of that is basically a repeatable section. So rather than field, it's just a section. But it
So
behaves in the same way.
could you map? So, for example, could I drag the repeater field between the number and the range field in the post ACF section there, or would I have to split the ACF section up and then drop it in between, if you know what I mean?
So okay, so here's one of the basic rules with using custom fields. This is the same for all form plugins, is that you need to map the same kind of structure between ACF than you as you have on your form.
Yeah.
So if you've got fields in a repeater, they need to stay in the repeater.
Got it.
But I can move those around any way that I want.
Yeah.
With regular fields that are kind of at the root level, I can put those anywhere that I want. So
Mhm.
again, I can move those around. I could, if I wanted to, add another section, and I can drag those fields into another section. So I
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah. Yeah.
around like
That's
that.
what I was wondering. Just that.
Yeah.
So I could, let's say, for example, that I wanted that repeater in the middle of all the other fields.
Yeah.
I could duplicate it, delete half from the top of one, half from the bottom of the other,
Yeah.
and then put the repeater section in the middle. Right.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. So what you could do is I could take this section and I could move that, way up here. I've got so many fields
Yeah.
on this form.
There it is. Yeah.
There it is there. And then I could move that repeater down here.
Exactly
and
that.
have it
Yeah.
in between.
Exactly
So
that.
you
Yeah.
can move things
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can even, if you want to. So when you create an ACF form by default, it's usually just going to be one big long list of fields, right? And that's a very, very long form to have to fill out. If you want to split that into multiple tabs, you can absolutely do that. And then you can move these fields between tabs.
Right. So that
So you
now
can
occupies its own little unique part of the form. Got it.
Right, right. Yeah. So you can move these fields around in pretty much any way that you want. The only ones that have to stay in a repeater are the ones that are in a repeater in ACF, because ultimately, when we submit those to ACF, they're sent with some certain tags on them to say, hey, this belongs in a repeater and it's row 1 or row 2 or row 3, whatever it may be. So that part of it just has to stay the same.
If we were having, so let's say that this was publicly available on the internet and we put this
Yep.
form out there and we wanted members of the public. Obviously, we can put we've talked about this last week. We can put capture like turnstile on it to prevent it being spammed and so on.
Yep.
Is there a way that, so two questions. Firstly, is there a way that we can do a save and continue at another date? So if we get halfway through it and then somebody shouts, "Do you want a cup of tea?" and you're like, "Oh yeah," and then you come back half an hour later, can you do that? And the second question is, can this post go straight to draft? So you fill out the WS form, and rather than it being, rather than it all going into the post and being live, can it go into a draft status straight away?
Yes, it can.
Okay.
So on the first question, doing like a save and continue, we have a save and continue feature in WS Form built in, and it's very, very simple to use. All you need to do is go to your toolbox on the right-hand side here, go down to buttons, and then you just drag
Oh,
the
look at
save
that. Yeah.
button.
The
Simple as
obvious
that.
save button. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you preview this, if I were to populate that and then we go down and we'll hit save, that's actually saved that form, not to a post, but in WS Form, so you can recall it later on. We also have an email method of that as well, which is described in the knowledge base. So you can actually email the user when they hit save. They will receive an email with a link in it, and they can click on that link and come back to that
Oh,
submission at any point as
nice.
well. Yeah.
So it would consume one of the fields, the email field,
Yep.
probably. You
Yep.
click save, and it will email them a copy saying, "Come back." Yeah, nice. That's cool.
Correct. Yeah, you could even show that save button if they complete the email field using
Got it.
conditional logic,
Got it.
and that was
Yeah.
something we went through in episode
Yeah.
2,
Yeah. Yeah.
so you could say if email, let's say, you can actually say is validated, right? So we make sure we've got an accurate email address in there, and then you can go to that save button.
Sorry, our icons are in the way here. Let me just move
That's
us out
right.
of the way. There we go.
Yeah, so that basically would show that save button. If the email address on the form is validated, then the user can click save, and then you could send them an email.
Perfect.
So that's how you can use save on here, and that works in conjunction with the post management add-on, the ACF integration. All works fine. If you want to save that actually as a draft, then you can go into actions, go to post management, and you can actually change the status here
Oh,
to
there. Easy.
draft. Yep. Now, if you were updating a post, you probably don't want to change the status of the post, right? Because it may have a draft status or a published status. You're not quite sure what it may be.
Yeah.
You can actually set that to default. So on an existing post, so if I were to put a post ID in there, I can set the status to default, and it will then inherit the current status and not change it. And that
Oh,
way,
right. So if it's already draft, it maintains
correct.
draftness. And if it's
Yep.
published, it maintains publishedness. I've just
Yes.
invented a word.
You
2
did.
words. Draftness and publishedness.
Yeah, in 60 seconds, you
Yeah.
did. It was... Yeah. And then also, like, populating the form with data, you can also restrict updates to author as well. So that will make sure that when the form is submitted, it will only update that post if the person logged in originally authored that post. So that's
Right.
just a little security feature there as well. There's a bunch of other options on here as well, and this changes from custom field plugin to custom field plugin. But for example, ACF has its own method of doing validation on fields. So you can actually do custom validation on fields and write your own PHP validation functions with ACF. So that is actually enabled by default. We will actually process those validations when the form is submitted.
Right.
And if any validation error come back from your custom PHP, we will then show that on the form. You could also do custom mapping as well, in conjunction with the ACF mapping as well. So what that does is it enables you to create your own key value pairs on that post data if you want to. And then this basically determines which fields are attachments, which should ultimately end up in the media library. And then this is your featured image mapping. So your featured image is the basic featured image that you have on all posts in WordPress. That's usually your big blog image. And you can choose which field you want to use for that. You can also dedupe as well. So if you want to make sure that you've only got one of a particular title or one of an email address, you can actually dedupe by that form.
Oh, so that might be useful for like a username or something like that. Yeah.
And we'll come on to that in a second. We're going to look at
Users.
users in just a moment. And there's various other options on here. These are all explained in the knowledge base. It kind of gets more and more detailed as you go through. One of the nice things about the post management add-on is that when you have created a post, that post then becomes available to WS Form variables. So if, for example, you had a post management action here, and then maybe you wanted to send an email afterwards, I can actually put in that email fields from that post. So I could say, you just added hash post title, and it will then put the title of the post it just created.
Nice.
Yeah, and you can also put like the post URL, which will put the permalink of that URL in there, so people can then click on it to get to it. So you can use any of the variables that relate to posts, and those are detailed again in the knowledge base. If you just do a search for variables, you'll find a list of all the variables that are available. You can even do things like hash post meta, and then put a meta key in there, and it will pull out that particular meta key. Now, the reason that we have these integrations with ACF is that some of their field types are quite complicated. For example, Google Map. Google Map has a lot of data in it. It's got the latitude, the longitude, the address, the zoom level, the map type, and things like that. And that's not stuff that you can just put in as text into one of those meta keys. So one of the reasons for the ACF integration is to make sure that when we save our map, the data in ACF is saved correctly, and vice versa. So it's kind of interfacing and gluing those two field plugins together. All right, let's have a look at the user management side of things. So all of the ACF fields that we just created, you can also attach those to a user as well. So if we go into edit this particular field group in ACF, you'll see I've actually just copied all these fields across for users, but you can use all of those. If I edit my user on here, you'll see that all of those ACF fields are in there.
There they are, look.
Yeah, the longest page in the world. Yeah. And I just have that for testing, basically, to make sure everything's working okay. Okay, so if we go to WS form, we're going to add new. Now, again, you could create your own registration form, map it to user registration and all that. But being WS form the way it is, we like to have templates for everything. So if you look in the user management template tab, you'll see that we've got templates for registering a user, editing a user. We've also got login, forgotten password, reset password, and log out. But let's have a look at register and edit profile. So this is basically creating a post and editing a post, but for a user. So if we click on register and hit use template, WS form is now going to build a form for you again. So instead of the post fields, now we've got all the standard user fields like username, email, first name, last name. These are all the standard fields that we expect to see on a user account. And then below that, we've got all the ACF fields for a user. So you've got all those custom fields that we created.
I am keen to see what this looks like. It's like, sign up to this website. Here's some information that's required.
Yeah. No one's going to sign up to this website.
Everything is required.
It takes forever. I'll add a couple of repeaters to this while we're at it. So let's populate. So luckily we've got that populate button. The nice thing about this is when you do populate, it actually does exact copy passwords for you.
Oh, nice.
So those are all filled out. Everything else on here should be completed. I think we're all good. And then we'll hit register. And there you go. There's a user registered in WordPress. So if we go into users, open that in a new tab. I'm assuming it's probably the top one.
Yeah, it will be.
I forget which one it was.
Yeah,
there you go. So there's all of our data. There are our repeater rows. And there's all the other fields filled out for that user. Now, let's have a look at the edit profile. Now, the edit profile, because I'm logged in as me, is obviously going to bring up my details, but I'll show you how that works. So if we go to add new, and we'll go to user management, and we'll use the edit profile template. So this is now going to create a form that you can put on your website to enable a user to edit their user profile. You can actually change the password with this as well if you want to. So here you've got, again, all the ACF fields that we have added to ACF. If we preview that, this is going to pull back my test data because I'm logged in. And we'll go ahead. Actually, I'm not.
I was going to say, do you want to fill this up?
Because it's going to change my name and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just change the first and last name. And then we'll scroll down to the bottom and we'll hit update profile. That's updated the data.
Nice.
If we go into here and go back to my user profile, we've now got first name and last name instead of first name and last name 1, 2, 3. So super easy again for creating, adding a user and editing a user. Now the crazy thing is that when you actually create one of those forms, if for some weird reason you had ACF and Metabox
I was going
installed,
to ask that.
and JetEngine,
Yeah.
and Toolset and
Yeah,
POS,
yeah.
you'll actually get multiple icons under here, and it will add every single custom field that you've got, regardless of the custom field plugins that you're using. And it will do that bi-directionally as well. I don't
They're
recommend
all
doing
gathered
that.
into a section, right? So you get the
Yeah,
ACF section and
yeah,
so you can easily delete the ones that you don't want, I'm guessing.
yep,
Okay,
yep,
that's handy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if does ACF enable tabs. I can't remember. Let's see. They may not. Google Map. Oh, they do.
There is a
Yeah.
tab, yeah.
So that's I haven't
Yeah,
used
you
this for
can
a
tab.
while.
Yeah, that you definitely can. Yeah, just thinking of an
Yeah.
implementation of it.
Let's just
You
put a
can,
tab.
yeah, up there. Do you have to nest them, or is it just everything below?
I think it's everything below, isn't it? Yeah. So
Yeah.
if I edit that, there's no fields within that. So
No.
yeah, I just
Okay.
wanted to try this.
Yep.
So let's go add new.
Oh, you got to save
I'll
it.
save
Yeah.
that first. I do like the new ACF interface.
Oh, it's lovely, and they do custom fields as well now. Sorry,
yeah.
custom post
Custom
types
post
as
types,
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is
they've been doing custom fields for quite a while.
yeah. Hence the name
Quite
ACF.
good at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So it's added a tab for
It
you.
has. Look at
Yeah.
that.
So if you add tabs within your custom fields, it will actually
They
add
will get
those
consumed by that
tabs
as
in.
well.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you're building like here are the basic building blocks for a really complicated website consuming almost anything from
Yep.
anybody,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you could get super nerdy with this.
And people do, and they get
Yeah,
very
yeah.
confused with it as well. Yeah, I do have some poor people coming to us and saying it won't work. And one of the most common reasons it doesn't work is they're maybe mapping wrong field types with each other.
Right.
So they might be mapping a number field accidentally to a select field, for example. In which case the data types behind the scenes are not going to be correct, and that can cause some problems with when ACF is looking at that data. So basically what we do is if you submit a form and maybe you submit it to an image field, we take our image format and we convert that into the data format that ACF requires. So everything is converted for you, and we do that again bi-directionally. So when we're populating the form from a post, we take the file data from ACF and then we convert that into our format onto our form, and then vice versa. So, but it's completely seamless. It's very, very easy to set up. You don't need to worry about any custom coding, any PHP coding, any JavaScript. Everything is done for you. So it's very easy to do. The other thing that it works with as well, if we just do this quickly, let's go to my ridiculously long plugins list because
This is not a typical website.
No, please don't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one server with about 200 plugins on it.
Nice.
Just for testing. But we're going to enable WooCommerce on here.
Oh.
You'll notice, so we go to post management. You'll notice
more.
WooCommerce has registered that product post type we were talking about. See the little Woo icon on there, because it's detected that is a Woo custom post type. If we use the template on that, it's now going to create a form which, when submitted, will create a product in WooCommerce. So it's pulled out all of the different fields that you need to actually create a product in WooCommerce.
And Rob Cairns, we got dangerously close to pizzas there.
We
were almost there.
Not quite. Yeah, no. That's the next episode. But yeah, so you can also use it to create simple product types in WooCommerce. Now it doesn't yet support variations. Variations is actually a very complex data format because it's a master post, and then there are multiple child posts under that. So this is really just for building a regular WooCommerce product, but you can do it, and you can do that bi-directionally as well.
So can I ask? You showed us ACF, which I think is definitely the right choice because it feels like it's the dominant force in that market. But you mentioned Toolset, JetEngine, Metabox, and Pods as well. Does it offer basically the same functionality. You know, if you've
Yeah.
created a custom post type with pods and
Yep.
you've grouped a bunch of fields, it will do the same thing. You would
Yep.
click, and there would be the fields all mapped correctly. Yep.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's just see. I might have.
Meta box you had there, I think.
Yeah, that one you've got to. Let's
Oh,
see.
you need a license for that, do you?
I've got a license for it, yeah, but
Oh, okay.
it's a little bit of a pain to get that one started up because there's so many different. I don't have the what's it AIO version on there,
Okay.
which
Yep.
has everything on it.
Yep.
Let's see if JetEngine will work. So they use meta boxes, I believe. So yeah, it's very similar. So you'll see on meta box here, you have a meta box, which is a bit like an ACF group,
Yep.
and then within that you can then add multiple fields. And again, it supports tabs, it supports repeaters, and all the core custom fields. So you see, there's a repeater here, so you can do multiple fields that repeat themselves on the page. So if we go to WS form, let's just actually use this. Yeah, so that's assigned to a post.
Yep.
Let's go add new. I apologize if this looks a bit rough. This is probably just a test, but you'll see now we've got two icons on that post there.
Got it.
So if we hit,
so now it's going to be mighty. This is
going to be an absolute mess.
Yes. Still pretty quick. Still happening pretty quickly.
But there's the tabs that we got set up in JetEngine. There are the fields that are within those tabs. If we preview that form, you'll see that it's actually built tabs for you. Everything's ready to go.
And it's such a time saver. And do you know what's really nice? Like the thing which you sort of glossed over at the beginning was the fact that it's okay, for a start, it's all done for you. That's really nice. But also the fact that it's done inside the interface of the form, whereas a lot of the other solutions that I've used in the past, you have to build the form. And then correctly, say, okay, I've got a repeater, then I've got a text field, then I've got an image upload. Then you've got to go to another interface and you've got to start mapping them one to one. Whereas yours, it's done, and even if you didn't want it to map in that way, it's all in that one same interface, which makes it really easy to use.
Yeah, and if you have an existing field and you want to convert that into the ability to create a post, you can do that. You don't have to use those templates. So you can convert any form, add a post management action, and off it goes. So I'll see if I can get MetaBox working quickly.
Yay! Somebody in the chat, DD Clark, thank you, has said show MetaBox. So they obviously want to see you doing MetaBox.
Let's see if we can get it working.
Here we
let's
go.
go MetaBox, and we'll go custom field.
Let's see if you've got
I'm
anything
not sure
pre-built. Oh, you've got a post.
What's got a post one in there? Let's see what we've got.
Fields. It's loading. It's loading. Oh,
there's a lot in there. Yeah, we've got lots of groups in there. So here we've got a basic group, advanced. So these are the different types of fields in MetaBox.
That is attached to what? Where does it show?
We've got buttons. We've got button groups. We've got everything in there. So let's try that.
They're all posts, though, are they? They're all going into.
Yeah, this is all post related.
Okay.
I believe.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's how it works.
Yeah. So very similar to ACF again, really. So these are like your ACF groups, and then you've got. You want to assign this particular field group
to the post type of post. Perfect. Got it.
So you can actually assign this to multiple post types if you want, and they all do that, which is nice. So let's go to add new.
This form is now going to be breathtaking.
It's going to be horrendous. Yeah. There you go. So now it's detected.
Yeah, got the M.
And you'll see, look, now I've got some other custom post types that appeared because I've got those registered with MetaBox. But let's go to.
Oh, yeah.
So if we hit use template, I'm crossing my fingers on this one.
Say, it's taking a little bit longer this time. It's having a bit of a think.
Yeah. So somewhere in here will be the MetaBox fields. I don't know where they are. But yeah, they're in here.
But that's how it works.
Yeah.
So DD Clark, it works in the way you've seen. You just probably will have to.
Yeah, dig it out.
Oh, I see. Okay, you're going to do it this way. Deactivate the others, and then what you're left with.
Because we got a bit silly there, didn't we?
Okay, here we go. Let's try again. MetaBox use template.
If we can see them. Hopefully, we've got this set up correctly. This is unrehearsed. So
there you go. Basic, advanced. Look at them.
So there's all your different field types. Yeah, you'll notice these are at 50% width as well.
Yep.
I'm presuming in MetaBox
Somewhere you set that up.
somewhere we've set that up. Yeah, let's have a quick look. So let's edit that field group.
Regular users of MetaBox at this point are pulling their hair out, like, "No, Mark, not that screen. It's clearly
Yeah,
over
not
here
not that
somewhere."
one. Yeah.
Yeah, no idea.
Standard MetaBox. I don't know where it is.
No, I don't either.
Somewhere in here. Oh, there you go. Column 6.
6
Yeah.
out of 12. Got
Yeah,
it.
you have to have the MetaBox column plugin installed to do that. But if you have got columns set up, it will actually set the columns up in your form as well. So it'll pull that across. The other thing, I should have said this actually with ACF, but all the other custom fill plugins, what we do is obviously within the settings for fields, you've got things like disabled, default text, whether it's multiple, whether it's required, disabled, etc. We pull all of those attributes across as well. So when you're looking at the actual settings of these fields, if you set a field as required, it would actually be required in WS form as well. One of the other things to bear in mind as well is that if you're using something like ACF, you've got a checkbox, it will dynamically pull the checkbox options from ACF. So if you change the options in ACF for a particular custom field, those will be automatically reflected on the form itself. So it will keep those synced up for you. So there you go. There's MetaBox as well.
Nice,
nice.
lots
And
nice.
lots
Yeah, I guess the sort of utility on this will only dawn on you if you start producing websites which are not just basic brochure sites. As soon as you start getting into data and dynamic data and figuring how do I get that data onto the post and what have you, all of this suddenly starts to become, well, the utility of it becomes really obvious.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be this complicated.
No,
some people will just have. Some people may just have 1 or 2 custom fields that they want on a post, and this will do that perfectly as well. So, but I just wanted to show you every field so you can see that this engine can really do a lot.
Not only
restricted to just text fields and things like that. You can do any type of field that you want across those different custom field plugins.
Marcus, you've made my day. Your comment has obliterated Mark's face, which Marcus said it adheres to column settings. The attention to detail is astounding indeed. Honestly, every turn there's a little surprise, isn't there? It doesn't matter where you go, there's a nice little surprise. So just one last thing, just quickly again, if you fancy getting a discount on that, you can go to our link Mark showed at the beginning of the show. I've actually forgotten what it was, but I think it's wpbuilds.com/link. Oh yeah, there's me with there's the one with me going up and down.
I didn't delete it off that one.
Why is that funny?
It's just brilliant.
Why is that as funny as it is?
I think it's the expression.
That's right. Yeah. 20% off any edition. wpbuilds.com/link/w. I nearly said WP Builds. WS form. Professional as always. Use coupon code WP Builds. We'll be back next week. Are we back next week, or are we having a week off?
We're doing one week and then we've got a break because we've got
we've got a little bit of a break. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. And next week we hopefully will be tackling all the WooCommerce-y stuff. I think that's what we said. So you got a glimpse of it just there. And so Rob Cairns is hysterical if Rob Cairns was unavailable next week. We built the most complicated pizza imaginable. That's right. So we'll be back next week. I'll see you then, Mark. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate it.
Take it easy, mate.
Take care.
See ya.